Welcome to the Jeremy and Andy Talk Movies podcast. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Andy.
And this week we have sort of a surprising out of nowhere new movie featuring Tom Hardy. Came straight to Netflix. This movie is called Havoc. And I texted
Flew
you
right
the other
under my
night.
radar.
Took a little screenshot of it. It was, what was it, Friday night, late at night or something? It was
so.
the first I had seen something on social media. I saw somebody reference it. And I was like, Andy, how have I totally missed this new Tom Hardy
Me both.
movie
I
coming
just
out?
found out like the day before, and that was only from like an Instagram reel or something.
Yeah. I've said it before that one thing I do like about Netflix movies is at least you don't have anything ruined by trailers. So I went into this movie like literally knowing
Blind.
nothing, which is kind of fun and nice. On the other hand, it'd be nice to have some promotional materials of some sort just to let you know that something like this is coming so you can look forward to it, or rather than, I mean, just something about having it just drop with no announcement whatsoever.
It's so weird.
It makes it feel like, oh, there's just no excitement for it.
It's just a weird time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that would be my note to the people of Netflix is like, don't drop trailers. I'm all for that, but drop some sort of promotional material. You know, drop some. I mean, y'all can have a presence online where you're just dropping the poster and saying coming in several weeks and doing a countdown. You know, countdown to the new Tom Hardy. Build
Tom
the
Hardy.
anticipation.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we're pretty in tune with what's going on in the movie world, and neither one of us knew about this movie.
yeah, I had
That
no
says a
idea.
lot, I think.
So I'm gonna try to give a summary of this one. This one was a little trickier, but
Yeah.
I'm going to give it a shot. So Tom Hardy plays Walker, a grizzled detective in a dark, violent city. His life is complicated by skeletons in his closet of corruption and political loyalties, and everything is brought to the forefront as he investigates a crime that brings all the aspects of his life together in a breakneck-paced day of fights and shootouts.
You're so good at these
Basically,
descriptions.
this is a wild, very convoluted movie where the convoluted plot actually doesn't matter that much.
No.
But Andy, was Havoc good?
I don't know. I really don't. Like, so like one thing, you know, like I steal a lot from The Rewatchables, my favorite podcast about movies, and they talk a lot about like flawed rewatchables. Mm-hmm. I think that's what this is. I don't think it was like, okay, Tom Hardy's awesome. I just don't think Tom Hardy knows how to not be awesome. He is born to play like the grizzled, corrupt, tortured, I've got weight on my shoulders guy. So he's great. I like a good like gritty, grimy crime city movie. Something about this movie was so off-putting to me was just the look of that. So like you got the gritty, grimy crime movie, but then you have this really obvious CGI blood throughout the movie, and that pairing was really off-putting to me. And I know that might sound like a really stupid nitpick to affect my overall opinion of the movie, but it really did. And I just felt there was some really good actors in this movie who were really wasted.
Yeah.
But yet I can't say I didn't enjoy it. So like I hate to be like wishy-washy, but I just don't know really where I land on this movie. I'm dying to hear what you think.
So my answer is no.
Okay.
It's not good.
Yeah.
I did right. I think there's a demographic for this type of movie. I think there are people who like these really ultra like dark, dour.
Yeah,
everything's-
I don't mind them.
But it's like I'm just not it. I'm not that demographic. This type of movie where everything is horrible and corrupt and violent is just not my type of action movie. And I say that, you know, there you can do dark and corrupt and violent. I love the movie Seven. That's about as dark as you can get. But
It doesn't get darker than that.
But what I love is that your protagonist are people who are shocked by this darkness as
Not just
the
everyone
audience.
just accepts it.
Whereas in this one, like Tom Hardy, I hate the movies where like our hero is just as dark and corrupt and gritty as everyone else.
Yeah.
Because then I'm like, well, what am I rooting for then? This
Yeah.
whole thing is just a
And-
gross cesspool of like, I don't care what happens, just wipe them all out.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I feel too. And it's like, the only thing I'm saying is that makes it hard for me to decide is because I like Tom Hardy so much.
Yeah. I was very shocked. I'm going to go ahead and just bring this up that this was written and directed by Gareth Evans for multiple reasons. One, I heard
Is
the
it
name and I
Evans or
was-
Edwards?
Evans.
Is it Evans?
So
There
there is a Gareth Edwards.
Right, yeah.
This is Gareth Evans. So
Yeah.
I did the same thing. I was like,
I myself
Gareth
confused.
Edwards. Like I think I like. Didn't he do like the Godzilla movie and something?
Yeah.
You know, but no, it's Gareth Evans. I was
Okay.
like, okay, that's someone I don't know. Oh, he did. I have heard of him though, because he's famous for doing the Raid movies.
Yeah.
I have not seen the Raid movies, but they're the like really famous action movies that are considered some of the best action choreography
choreography.
and stuff. movies that I keep thinking like, yeah, I'll check them out someday, and I just haven't. But I'm like, okay, so this guy is a really respected action director, and I would not have guessed that watching this movie. That said, once I figured that out, like after the movie, I was like, it does kind of make a little sense because, again, watching this movie, it has a little bit of what I was talking about with The Accountant. Is this a bad good movie or a good bad movie? This movie had a lot more bad, I thought, but there was flourishes in it that I was like, well, this movie's doing better than I expected for like these long action fights. It's got some choreography. It really is going for it in ways that like, it's like, okay, I almost respect this. I kind of see like where the filmmakers and everybody involved thought we're making something really cool and epic. We're making something almost John Wick-esque, or what's the one with Chris Hemsworth that were Netflix movies like the...
I don't remember what they're called. There's two of them. Is it Extraction? Or...
Extraction. That's what I wanted to say, The Extractor, but it's Extraction.
Yeah.
Extraction 2. Cool action movies. But... Again, I'm with you. Like, the violence was kind of weird. The CGI blood was distracting.
The CGI blood is so noticeable in this movie. And I'm not trying to be like movie nerd guy. It's so noticeable.
The action is shot so freaking kinetic that it's really frenetic. And all I can think is like, this is harkening back to like cocaine filmmaking. Like, I'm like exhausted by this.
It's very like Tony Scott-ish, and it's like you said, it's like grimy, and nobody's likable, and everyone's just getting their brains blown out, and like I'm being wishy-washy. Like I said, I'm being wishy-washy because I like Tom Hardy so much.
Yeah,
I like I said, I like the idea. I don't mind like let's create. You know, it's one thing I talk about all the time with like The Dark Knight, where the city feels very much a part of the movie. So I'm not opposed to like the big city epic and it's a corrupt city, and that's all like Dark Knight-ish. But this is just like that extra level of just like dirty and gross, and it's like almost kind of like, in a way, it kind of reminded me of like Sin City.
Yeah.
But Sin City, I think, had more of like a wink at the audience type of situation. And it was more willing to go like way past extreme with like the Benicio del Toro stuff and all that. And this was just like, man, this is just kind of just so gritty and grimy that at the end I'm just like, I've had all I can take.
Yeah.
And then you don't even get like and not that every movie has to give you a happy ending. We've talked about that on here before, but you get kind of like with Tom Hardy, where it's like, is he going to jail? Is he like,
is he dying?
You don't even get like you know what, this guy's going to be all right. We suffered through all this violence and grime and everything, but this dude's going to be okay. You don't even get that. So yeah, as we're talking, I'm definitely leaning more towards just, I'm like you, like this just wasn't for me probably.
Yeah. I want to make sure that I emphasize with you, like, Hardy's awesome. And there was a moment, I can't even remember what the moment was in the story, but somebody says or does something, and Hardy just has to have a like little reaction, and he does a reaction, and I swear all that changed was like the little bags under his eyes like made a little like movement, and I was like, that's unreal. That's like prime example of what I'm always talking about, how the face and the expressiveness of the face is what makes a great actor, and his ability to just like that one little movement flutter under his face to have a reaction. I was like, the dude is just unreal. Not only does he look awesome like an action hero, he just looks so rugged and tough, but then he's got those little acting flourishes where he can articulate so much with just a little facial movement.
Yeah, I don't blame Hardy for wanting to be in this movie, because it does feel like it's playing to his strengths. Like you said, he just seems so like rugged and tough, and like you always, like we talk a lot, and I always joke like in movies how like, man, people can sure take a lot of punches in movies. Hardy looks like he could actually take a ton of punches in real life and just shrug it off. So I don't fault him. And like we talked about it when we did Venom, where it's like, man, is Hardy, like, it's unquestionable, not in debate that if he's good or bad. This dude is good. It still seems to me like he's not able to find the right roles for himself.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It just feels like something is missing from his career.
Yeah. Honestly, like, I wonder if maybe the problem is the things that we love about him that he's great at would have ended him up, if he just leaned into those, with a career that's more Jason Statham.
Mm-hmm.
And he probably goes, I like to act. I don't want to just
he wants to act.
That guy. So he went this other path.
Yeah.
And what it led to was like, he didn't get these all, he could have had just a string of great action movies that we would have loved. Instead, he's got all these weird choices.
Yeah.
That
And
we're
he's
going,
got-
like,
he's got-
sometimes it works, sometimes a lot of times it doesn't.
A lot of times it does. And he's got like the Leonardo DiCaprio thing where it's like, dude just refuses to take a part where he just has like a normal good day. He loves to be like the tortured, I've got all this weight on my shoulders and I've got this dark path. Like he loves that.
Yeah.
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 But like if you ever listen to this, Tom Hardy, please don't beat me up. Like,
Right.
because you could. But I love Tom Hardy. I just feel like there's some role out there that he's just missing to finally send him into like permanent A-lister.
Yeah. I do think maybe part of the problem, unfairly to him, is that some of just the perfect roles for him he hit early in his career, and then it's hard to replicate that.
Yeah.
I mean, Warrior was just like perfect use of him as this like Rocky-esque character in the MMA world. Bane was a perfect villain character.
Yeah.
He's so good at, and these are relatively early in his career. And so now, like,
I know.
we're going like, if he just hit that perfect part, well, if he had one of those parts now.
Yeah. I think Inception is just
Yeah.
an amazing use of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and maybe part of it's that sometimes I'm a little critical of actors who are like, oh, I only want to work with the best filmmakers. And you're like, well, duh, who doesn't?
Right.
Like, get over yourself and just choose interesting parts. But then I look at someone like Tom Hardy and I go, maybe you should just go, I'm going to be more particular and just work with directors who are going to make sure I'm in a good movie.
I think I said this after we did Venom, the last Venom movie. It's like, dude, maybe just stick with Nolan for a while.
Yeah.
Like, that dude knows how to write parts for you that you shine in.
I mean, I think Hardy would be great. And I mean, again, who wouldn't? But I think Hardy would do very well in Scorsese's worlds.
Yep.
I mean, we talk about the toughness and grittiness. Like, if that's not Scorsese's,
Scorsese loves that stuff. Yeah.
Like, I mean, Hardy's played a gangster in several things, but nothing good.
Yeah.
We'll get to the guy who does gangsters better than anybody.
Go to the GOAT.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. You talked about other people being wasted in this movie. I imagine that you are referencing Timothy Olyphant, who
what a waste.
He is such a charming and lovable actor.
Yeah. It's like, so let's give him nothing to do in this movie.
It really felt like you could see from the filmmaker's perspective where they're like, oh, we're going to get, him to be in this part. That's going to give it some real gravitas, just having him show up and be in this part. And maybe from his perspective, he's going, hey, cool, the guy from The Raid wants to put me in his new action movie, like, I'll do it. But it's one of those like, man, read the script first. Yeah. Like, you're going to have nothing.
Because this dude he can act. What was the show he was in? Where he's like the sheriff.
Justified.
Thank you. Like, he pulls that off really well, and like he's like a handsome dude up on screen and all this stuff, and it's just like he has nothing to do in this movie.
He's in a show with Drew Barrymore, a comedy show called the Santa
Clarita Diet or something.
Yeah, it's like his wife turns into like a zombie. That
and he can be funny.
He is so funny in that show that I've always liked him, but in that show I'm like, this dude is so much better than like I've even given him credit for. So like, it's so charming, so funny, and he is just reduced to nothing in this.
And he's really like a jack of all trades. Like, you buy him as like the sheriff. You buy him like, he throws a punch. Like, that dude probably could throw a punch. He's funny. Like, he was on The Office for a couple episodes and stuff. Like. And it's like, let's just give this guy next to nothing to do.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is Forrest Whitaker a good actor?
I think I don't know. Like, he's a good presence. Like, just a couple days ago I rewatched Panic Room, and it's like he just brings something to that movie, like a presence. I think is the right word. And this, it's like I didn't like him in this movie either.
I think. I asked that because I do think he's a good actor, but I do think he's one of those guys that, like, in a bad movie comes across really bad. I think he's like, I'm not going to be nothing in this movie. I'm going to do something.
Yeah.
And so, like, the first scene he's in, when Tom Hardy goes to talk to him about his son's situation, he's just kind of like big personality over the top. And I think it's just, he's one of those actors that's like, okay, I've got nothing to do in this movie. What am I going to do? I'll just go big.
Yeah.
Type thing. So he's going to come across bad. Like Timothy Olyphant, bless him, he had nothing to do. And so, you know what? he did nothing.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, all right, this is what you want me to do, I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'll be a team player. He could have gone like, I'll also go like big and ended up looking bad.
Yeah.
But because you're right, like Panic Room, I think that he's really good in that movie.
He's good in that movie.
But then I watched this movie and I'm like, is he good?
I think he does really good at playing like I'm the voice of reason. Like in Panic Room, he's a criminal, but he's also like he's the voice of reason.
Yeah.
And he's chill and all these things. And in this, he's like he's got it like he's corrupt or whatever. And it's just like I just don't think this is. I just don't. This is not how I want to see Forrest Whitaker used.
Yeah. It was some bad dialogue too. I think
There
that's
is.
part of it. You know, he's like, "Oh, whatever you did to get that DA off my back, you really did it." And it's
He's
just like
got to spout some
you are,
exposition.
yeah,
and,
really,
yeah.
not being done any favors with the script here.
I would also say too, like not to pick on like the writer and the filmmaker of this movie, but it's like, dude, you don't have to. If you're just making an action movie, that's fine. I love action movies. You don't have to overcomplicate all these. Like that's a new thing that seems like to me, where it's like a lot of these newer action movies, and this is something that's missing from those ones we long for, like the Stallone and Schwarzenegger. They were so simple.
Yeah.
Now it's like they always have to do like this person is actually with the bad guys and there's a double cross, and I like there was a couple times in the movie where I was like, what and who, and I shouldn't feel that way if I'm watching just an action movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely felt like a lot just happening just because the filmmaker's like, this will be cool, and this will be cool, and not because like this will make the story make
It
sense.
doesn't serve the story at all. And
so my biggest complaint about this movie, though, for all of its like gritty action, like, you know, anyone could die type thing, man, are the villains some stormtrooper
oh my
villains.
gosh.
I mean, there are so many shots in this movie of like 10 guys with machine guns shooting right at the heroes and can't hit them. And it's like, and then the heroes pop up, one shot hits the bad guys. And it's just like, it's almost like I know it's a cliche. You can pick on a lot of 80s action movies like that too.
Of course.
But this one just feels like it takes it
To an
further than I've
extreme.
ever seen almost.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, there's a scene where a kid walks around the corner and like kind of almost slides out in the corner, and there's all these guys with machine guns, and he just like pops back before they can all fire a shot. And I'm like, he's just faster than bullets. He recovered.
Like, is this the
faster than
Flash
bullets
or
are.
like who is this? Yeah.
And not only that, then the very ending scene where you end up with like a shootout with everybody. There's multiple moments where I'm like, okay, nobody else is around him with guns, so the police lady. The corrupt cop makes his move to get his gun from her, and it's like slow-mo, him like hitting her, taking the gun, pulling the gun on her, and I'm like, you're surrounded by bad guys who also have machine guns, and they're all just watching this happen. Forrest Whitaker having to die in front of his sons. It's like nobody was shooting back at the guy who was about to like, there's so many moments like that. I mean, it's constant that I was going, you can handle some of these, but it's like a whole movie of these.
It is. And I think the difference, like Schwarzenegger did this all the time, but those movies were fun and lighthearted.
Yeah.
They weren't going, it's like, that's my thing too, is like this movie's going for like this like hard-nosed grittiness and all that stuff. And that just lends itself to realism.
Right.
And so like when you have that, then you also have like the Commando thing where 400 people are shooting at Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
And no, like it's fine in Commando. It's very noticeable in this movie.
And this movie, again, action movie trope from the 80s, it's almost comedic when somebody actually does reload a gun in this movie because everybody else just seems to have endless
bullets, yeah. And there are so many people in this movie whose only job is to just get shot in the head.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, in that long club scene, for all the cool action, it is like, again, the choreography, I know other movies do this, but this just does it poorly where it's so obvious. They're in a shootout, and then once we're going to like fighting with fists, it's like somebody tipped off the bad guys. Hey, we're not doing guns anymore. Everybody's got to use fists.
Yeah.
Oh, we're back to guns, so everybody can be back to guns.
Mm-hmm.
But Luis Guzman, why he was in this movie, I don't know.
Another person is just totally wasted.
The dramatic moment where he shuts the door and holds it for like his, whatever she's supposed to be, his niece or something, to get away. He's just like, no. And like, this is a dramatic moment that's been done in so many things. Except for it doesn't make any sense here because he has literally not slowed these bad guys down
at
1
all.
ounce. They've literally just blow him away, go through the door.
Yeah.
Like, so what was he literally slowed her down because then she just sat there and waited for him to get shot first.
Yeah.
Maybe just gone through. I was like, so it's just, did that again because the filmmakers thought this will be a cool dramatic moment. It didn't make any sense.
It didn't make any sense. And then it does the thing where we talk about where it's like, then everyone just kind of looks stupid in the movie. And no one wins when everyone looks stupid in a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I hate that I feel this way. I hate that I don't like this movie because I wanted Tom to have another hit.
Oh yeah, I want Tom Hardy to get all the wins.
Because here's my big question: what was the last good Tom Hardy movie?
Not Venom, The Last Dance.
See, yeah, like I would agree with that. I know I was higher on the Bike Riders than you were, but I still wouldn't go so far as to be like, so that was the last good Tom Hardy movie. It's more like that was fine.
That was okay. Yeah.
I
mean, do you have to go back to like Dunkirk?
I was about to say, I think that is the answer, and I'm looking at his IMDb right now, and that is what I've got to go back to. 2017's Dunkirk was the last time I would say Tom Hardy had a good movie. That's unbelievable. That's 8 years ago.
You're coming up on 10 years. Like, it's not that far away. And it's like, that's my thing too. Like, his resume is so weird because for as much as I like him, if you were to put me on the spot and be like, name 4 Tom Hardy movies between Dunkirk and now, like, I don't know that I would do great at that.
I mean, so let's just talk through this run.
Let's do
2010 Inception.
And let me say this too, like, because I was all about Inception at the time, and I still am. After that, people were like, Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if it's accurate to say he stole the show, but like, he was a big talking point coming out of Inception.
Yeah. And of course, I'm not hitting everything he was in, but just kind of the big points. So Inception 2010, Warrior 2011. He was in The Dark Knight Rises in 2012. He was in Mad Max Fury Road in 2015.
Yeah.
He was in The Revenant in 2015 as well. He was in Dunkirk in 2017. And then between now, he's got 3 Venom movies.
Ugh.
He's got that Capone movie I never saw because I heard it was bad.
Mm-hmm.
The Bike Riders, and Havoc as far as movies.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, something is just missing. Because, like, when you go, like, Warrior, Inception, Dark Knight Rises, Mad Max Fury Road, like, you're naming some awesome movies.
Yeah.
But they're spaced out, and then there's just a lot of either nothing or just some, like, he's one of those guys, too, like, I'll look at his IMDb and be like, I've never heard of this movie.
Yeah.
Like, I'm super in tune with people's movies and their resumes and stuff. And he's got movies I'm like, I don't even know what this is.
Yeah. And, you know, some of the other movies that I skipped over are decent movies. I know a lot of people are fans of Lawless. I actually didn't like that movie. I thought it was just, I just
like,
didn't like it.
I do think Tom Hardy's cool in that movie, and he's still got, like,
He
the
is.
Bane body.
Yeah.
So he looks awesome. No, I get what you're saying, though.
He was in a movie called Lock, which I think we've talked about a little bit before, where it's just
cool.
him in a car.
It's cool.
And it's cool, and I think it's one of the more impressive performances I've
It
seen
is.
because he's just got to carry it.
And
just
I
him talking on the
honestly think
phone.
that's a good choice for his resume, because it's like, I want to show people that I can carry this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so since Dunkirk, there's nothing that he's done that I care about.
That's a bummer,
And so like
man.
when he came out with this movie, I was like, please just tell me we got another Tom Hardy like great role on here because we're so long overdue, and
It's a bummer.
and I don't know what's next for him either. I don't know
I don't either. And it's like I agree with you completely. Where it's like, I know this is easier said than done, and otherwise everyone would just do it. Latch on to Scorsese. Go back to Nolan. Latch on to Fincher. Like you can be dark and you can do those things that you're so good at. I'm not faulting you for that, but it's like, do it in more capable hands.
absolutely.
Scorsese's got a gangster movie coming up with The Rock, of all people, like a Hawaiian gangster movie. It's like, dude, weasel your way into work your way into that movie. I'm sure you'd be great in it. I don't know if Tom Hardy's not Hawaiian, but who cares? Find your way into that movie.
Yeah. I mean, I can think of just dozens of ways for him to like go right. I mean, it's obviously too late now. The movie's made, but like if he was the bad guy in a Mission Impossible movie, just to pull a Henry Cavill.
That's a great idea. That is a great idea. Just go toe to toe with Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
you know what? One thing that he does have going in his favor is they're supposed to be done with Venom.
yeah.
So it's like he's able to strap that weight off of his back. Now, we're not, the last Venom movie just came out, in October. So we're not necessarily seeing the benefits of that yet, but I do think that will help in the long run.
Yeah.
Because that was just, we talked about it. We don't like the Venom movies.
It was a waste of him.
It was a waste of Tom Hardy.
Yeah. Man, even looking at this picture that's on the IMDb of Havoc, and it's Tom Hardy standing looking sideways. He's got the jacket with the high collar and stuff. And I'm just looking at it going like, even with the neon behind it, I was like, it literally looks almost like, what if Tom Hardy was in Blade Runner 2049 instead of,
Instead
it's
of
like
Gosling.
I love Gosling. It's not like I want to replace him. I'm just like, if he had had that movie, for example, that'd be another like great role for him. He would have done great in, even though, again, I'm perfectly fine with what we got from Gosling because I thought he was awesome.
Sure. Yeah, that would be a good use of Tom Hardy.
Yeah, but just that's the sort of thing I'm going like, but Tom Hardy didn't get that movie. He's in Havoc, which is, I would say, the city they created was trying to create almost a Blade Runner-esque look because it did a lot of that like kind of neon, like the light up.
Like even the bad guys have the mask with the neon stuff on them, and I was like, that's another thing where you're like, is this just because you thought it looked cool?
Yeah. There's really never any explanation. Honestly, you never really get much context for where we are or like what the time. Like hardly anything is explained.
Hardly any information is given to you,
and not in like we talk about all the time. Don't over-explain things. It's not in the like, well, good, they didn't over-explain, they let us figure it out. There's nothing to figure out.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. We got some washing machines with cocaine in them. Yeah. Like, even that was like, that's a weird choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my best bit of trivia from this movie is actually not like a super interesting or positive one. I just thought the interesting about it is the trivia says, Havoc wrapped filming in 2021 and is now not expected to release until January 2025 at the earliest due to multiple reshoots that had to be done on the film. So it's just interesting to me that like, oh, this movie is originally wrapped 4 years ago.
Wow.
So it's the type of movie I watch and go, I am not surprised. Developmental issues with this one.
I'm not either.
And maybe that's why it got dumped so quietly on Netflix is maybe they knew like we kind of have a messy movie on our hands.
Yeah.
And this is the result.
Once again, I know we talk about this a lot, but it's just such a weird time where this big, I assume pretty big budget Tom Hardy movie just kind of
somewhere between 80 to 100 million.
It just kind of creeps onto Netflix, and I just think this movie will be forgotten about pretty quickly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
mean, honestly, it's pretty far in the back of my mind, and I watched it yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably even generous to say forgotten about because you kind of have to be known in order to be forgotten. And I think like this will be a movie that I could bring up to most people, and they'll be like,
no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, so that's a bummer. Tom Hardy deserves better.
He does,
and we as moviegoers deserve better. Tom Hardy. It's a two-way street.
It is.
I want better for Tom, and I want better for us.
Yeah, me too. I agree completely.
We all benefit when Tom's good.
You do, guys. I was just going to say because when you get the good versions of Tom Hardy, big win.
Yeah,
big win. Even in Dunkirk, he is literally like he doesn't have dialogue, does he?
He's got a little bit, but it's mostly like the technical stuff.
Technical
him
talk.
Communicating with
his face is covered, and it's still a great performance in a great movie.
And it was during that period of time where the big joke was that Tom Hardy covers most of his face in his movies.
Yeah.
But it was always like, I think that was the great thing about Hardy is he was him challenging himself. Like, okay, what can I do as an actor if I only show this much of my face and I only do this much dialogue wise?
Yep.
Can I still give a performance out of that? And because he's one of the great articulating thoughts and feelings through his facial expressions and particularly his eyes, it was always awesome to see him do that.
Absolutely. Well, like you and I just watched Dark Knight Rises together, like 2 weeks ago, I think. And it's like, man, Tom Hardy, just the look, the voice, the mannerisms, the everything, like he is up for the challenge. And when he's in good hands.
Yeah. I think, just speaking of that, I think the Bane voice has aged very well. It was very mocked when it first came out. People were like, what a weird, strange choice. Yeah. I do think one of the things that helped swayed me on it was, you've seen the clip of the interview where he talks about where he got the voice.
When he's talking to Andy Serkis.
He's heard the old like recording of the
like bare knuckle
gypsy
fighter
boxer guy. Yeah.
And then he does it.
He does the impression, and like when he does the impression and he doesn't have the mask on, you're like, oh, okay, like I see where all this is coming from. And like it kind of makes me appreciate it more. That
agreed.
It wasn't just him going, let me find a weird voice, but he actually modeled it after something that made sense.
I agree completely. I think it's aged really well.
Yeah. But yeah, so I guess before we wrap it up, we've got to ask the question. It's kind of one of the more dour movies to try to do this in, but can we put Uncle Chip in here to lighten the mood a little anywhere?
I don't want Uncle Chip in this movie. I want to keep Uncle Chip happy and just, I think Uncle Chip is just so happy being Uncle Chip. I don't want him in this world.
Yeah.
Like this world, Uncle Chip is better than this world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the only place I thought of that he might make any sense is maybe when the cop goes to visit Tom Hardy's estranged wife or
Yeah.
ex-wife. It's not clear what he is. And daughter, maybe Uncle Chip's there. He's the new man.
He's
in
the
her
new
life.
boyfriend.
He answers the door. You know,
That would
like,
be great. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there's not much joy in this movie.
There's no joy in this movie, and Uncle Chip brings me joy.
Yeah.
So
let's keep him free and clear.
I don't
of
want
this.
him stained by the world of Havoc.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, terrible name for the movie. It's just not a good title for the movie.
It's funny because I was literally just about to say, kind of appropriately named though, because Havoc's kind of like chaos, right? Like it just is sort of a Havoc movie. It's just
Like
a
what?
chaotic movie.
Havoc? It feels like you watch the movie.
It's
and
generic, though,
It's
for
generic.
sure.
That's exactly what I was getting ready to say. Like, I don't know. Havoc. Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
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 Bah.
Also, it shares the title with an old Anne Hathaway movie. She was in a movie called Havoc. I never saw it, but
I haven't seen it either. But it's like, yeah, come on, people.
yeah, everything about this movie just kind of screams cheesy, generic movie.
Agreed.
And there's just too good of people involved for that to be excusable.
Agreed.
So
Completely.
yeah, a little bit of a bummer because
It's been like theater wise, there's been some misses. I didn't like Death of a Unicorn and stuff, but just a lot of enjoyable movies this year. And I think that makes something like this stand out even more in a bad way.
yeah.
Yeah.
But hopefully we'll quickly wash this bad taste out of our mouth. Next weekend we've got one of the bigger releases.
We're going back to the MCU.
So we're gonna get Thunderbolts.
I'm pretty excited.
I am too, especially considering that this is basically MCU Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Like
I'm looking forward to it. And I did read, now you can only take this stuff with a grain of salt, but I was reading some early spoiler-free reviews, of course, and got me pretty optimistic. Seems like there's a good buzz around this movie, and I really hope we can sit here next week and be like, awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that's a super high bar, but I would love to come back and say best MCU movie since Endgame.
Yeah, I would too. I would love to be able to say that.
Although I guess the one Spider-Man movie was...
That was really cool.
I tend to, for some reason, forget about the Spider-Man movies being MCU movies, and I just think of them as Spider-Man movies.
That was a really cool movie. Yeah. But I have high hopes for Thunderbolts. I'm going to IMAX it. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are. And again, I would love for it to be just continuing this trend of theaters doing very well. Like a lot of people at the theater. I think it's going to get good crowds.
I'm really interested to see the box office next weekend with Sinners. Just like I said, is turning into this phenomenon. And I hope there's room for, like this weekend, there was room for a lot of movies to succeed.
Yeah.
I think Sinners, Accountant, Star Wars, and I think Minecraft was pretty close to 20 million or above this weekend. So
that's awesome.
That's great. We always say it. We want theaters to win. I hope there's room for all these with the Accountant still being able to have a decent holdover.
Absolutely.
So,
all right. So please join us next week
for
that conversation about Thunderbolts, and we will see you then.
See you then.